Céad Míle Fáilte. Welcome to the Treasured Tales of Ireland, where we keep the myths, legends, and fairy tales of the Emerald Isle alive. I'm your host, Mylinda Butterworth. If you're new to our circle, you can find our full series playlist linked above, so you catch up on the journey so far. And if you enjoy these tales, please like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. A quick note for those using closed captions. Many of these ancient Irish names are written quite differently than they are spoken, but we have made every effort to pronounce them correctly. Now, let's return to the fire. Today, we continue our saga and the Book of the Fianna with episode 59, The Flight from Tiawer, part 6 of 13. Finn rose up one morning early in Alvin of Leinster, and he sat alone on the green lawn without a boy or a servant being with him. And Oisin followed him there, and Diarmuid the druid. "What is the cause of your early rising, Finn?" said Oisin. "It is not without a cause, indeed, I rise early," said Finn. "For I am without a wife or a companion, since Mynish, daughter of the Black Gary, died from me, for quiet sleep is not used to come to a man that is without a fitting wife." "Why would you be like that?" said Oisin. "For there is not a woman on all Green Ireland you would throw a look on, but he would bring her to you, willing or unwilling." "I myself could find a wife would that be fitting for you," said Diarmuid. "And who is that?" said Finn. It is Grania, daughter of the High King of Ireland," said Diarmuid. "And she is the woman of the best make and shape and the best speech of the women of the whole world." "By my word, young, there is strife and disagreement between the High King and myself this long time, and it would not be pleasing to me to get a refusal from him, and it is best for you to go together," he said, "and to ask his daughter for me in marriage, the way that if he gives a refusal, it will be unto you and not myself he will give it." "We will go," said Oisin. "Even if it is a little profit we will get by it, and let no one at all know of our going," he said, "until such time as we come back again." After that, the two bade farewell to Finn and set out, and it is told what they did till they came to Tiawer. The King of Ireland was holding a gathering at that time on the green of Tiawer, and the chief nobles of his people were with him. And there was a friendly welcome given to Oisin and to Diarmuid, and the king put off the gathering till the next day, for he was sure it was some pressing thing had brought these two men of the Fianna to Tiawer. And Oisin went aside with him and told him he was to ask his daughter Grania in marriage. They were come from Finn, head of the Fianna of Ireland. The king spoke, and it is what he said. "There is not a son of a king or of a great prince, there's not a champion in the Ireland my daughter has not given a refusal to, and it is on me they all lay the blame of that. And I will give you no answer at all," he said, "till you go to herself, for it is better for you to get her own answer than to be displeased with me." So they went together to the sunny house of the women, and the king sat down at the head of the high seat beside Grania, and he said, "Here, Grania, are two of the people of Finn, son of Cool, come to ask you as a wife for him, and what answer have you mind to give them?" And it is what Grania said. "If he is a fitting son-in-law for you, why would he not be a fitting husband for me?" They were satisfied then, and there was a feast made for them that night in Grania's sunny house, and the king settled for a meeting a fortnight from the time between himself and Finn at Tiawer. So Oisin and Diarmuid went back again to Alvin and told Finn their story from beginning to end, and as everything wears away, so did the time of delay. And then Finn gathered together 7 battalions of the Fianna from every part where they were to Alvin, and they set out in great bands and troops till they came to Tiaur. The king was out on the green before them, and the great people of the men of Ireland, and there was a great welcome before Finn and the Fianna. But when Grania saw grey-haired Finn, she said, "It is a great wonder it was not for Oisin Finn asked me, for he would be more fitting for me than a man that is older than my father." But they talked together for a while, and Finn was putting questions to Grania, for she had the name of being very quick with answers. "Whither is whiter than snow?" he said. "The truth," said Grania. "What is the best colour?" said Finn. "The colour of childhood," said she. "What is hotter than fire?" "The face of a hospitable man when he sees a stranger coming in, and the house empty." "What is a taste more bitter than poison?" "The reproach of an enemy." "What is best for a champion?" "His things to be high and his pride to be low." "What is the best of jewels?" "A knife." "What is sharper than a sword?" "The wit of a woman between 2 men." "What is quicker than the wind?" said Finn. "A woman's mind," said Grania. And indeed she was telling no lie when she said that. And all their talk together she had no liking for Finn, and she felt the blood in her heart to be rising against him. And the wedding feast was made ready then, and they all went into the king's feasting house in the middle court. And the king sat down to take his share of drinking and pleasure, and his wife at his left side, and Grania beside her again, and Finn, son of Cool, at the right hand of the king, and Oisin at the other side, and every other one according to his nobility and his birth. Then Dara of the poems stood up before Grania, and sang the songs and good poems of her fathers to her. And there was sitting near to Grania a knowledgeable man, a druid of Finn's people, and it was not long until they began to talk together. "Tell me now," said Grania, "who is that man on the right hand of Oisin?" "That is Gold, son of Morna," said the druid, "the ready fighter." "And who is that beside Gold?" said Grania. "Oscar, son of Oisin," said the druid. "And who is that thin-legged man beside Oscar?" "That is Quilta, son of Ronan." "And who is that proud, hasty man beside Quilta?" "Louis, son of the strong hand." Who is that sweet-worded man," she said then, "with the dark hair and cheeks like the rowan berry, on the left side of Oisin, son of Finn?" "That is Diarmuid, grandson of Dovna," said the druid. "That is the best lover of women in the whole world." "That is good company," said Grania. And after the feast had gone on a while, their own feast was made for the dogs outside, and the dogs began to fight with one another, and the noise was heard in the hall, and the chief men of the Fianna went to drive them away from one another. Now Diarmuid was used to keep his cap always over the love spot the women had left on his forehead, for no woman could see that spot, but she would give him her love. And it chanced while he was driving the dogs apart, the cap fell from him, and Grania was looking at him as he fell, and great love for him came on her there and then. And she called her serving maid to her, and bade her bring the great golden cup that held drink for 9 times 9 men from the sunny house. And when the serving maid brought the cup, she filled it with wine that had an enchantment in it. And she said, "Give the cup first to Finn, and bid him take a drink from it, and tell him it was I who sent it to him." So the serving maid did that, and Finn took the cup and drank out of it, and no sooner did he drink than he fell into a deep sleep. And then the cup was given to the king and the queen and the sons of the king and the whole company, but only Oisin and Uskar and Quilta and Diarmuid and Diarang the druid. Then all that drank of it fell into the same heavy sleep. And when they were all in their sleep, Grania rose up softly from the seat where she was, and she turned her face to Diarmuid, and she said, "Will you take my love, Diarmuid, son of Dufna, and will you bring me away out of this house tonight?" "I will not," said Diarmuid. "I will not meddle with the woman that has promised to Finn." "If that is so," said Grania, "I put you under druid bonds to bring me out of this house tonight before the awakening of Finn and of the King of Ireland from their sleep." "It is under bad bonds. Why is it," he said, "that you put them on me more than on the great men and the sons of kings that are in the middle court tonight? For there's not one of them all but is as well worthy of a woman's love as myself." "By my hand, Diarmuid, it is not what cause I laid these bonds on you," said Grania. "For I was at the door a while ago when you were parting the dogs," she said, "and my eyes fell on you, and I gave you the love there and then that I never gave to another, and never will give forever." "It is a great wonder you give that love to me and not to Finn," said Diarmuid, "for there is not in Ireland a man in better lover of a woman than himself. And do you know this, Grania?" he said. "The night Finn is in Tiaur, it is he himself is the keeper of its gates. And as that is so, we cannot leave the town. There is a side door of escape at my sunny house," said Grania, "and we will go out by it." "It is a thing I will never do," said Diarmuid, "to go out by any side door of escape of it." "That may be so," said Grania, "but I heard it said that every fighting man has leave to pass over the walls of any dune, of any strong place at all by shafts of his spears. And I will go out through that door," she said, "and you will follow me like that." And that she went out, and Diarmuid spoke to his people, and he said, "Oh, Oisin, son of Finn, what must I do with these bonds that are laid on me?" "You are not guilty of the bonds were you laid on you," said Oisin, "and I tell you to follow Grania and to keep yourself well out of the hands of Finn." "Uskar, son of Oisin," he said, "then what must I do these bonds that are put on me?" "I tell you to follow Grania," said Uskar, "for it is the pitiful man that would break his bonds." "What advice do you give me, Quilta?" said Diarmuid. "It is what I say," said Quilta, "that I myself have a fitting wife, and that it would be better to me than all the riches of the world, Grania, to have given me that love." "What advice do you give me, Diarang?" "I tell you to follow Grania," said Diarang, "although you will get your death by it. That is bad to me." "Is that the advice you all give me?" said Diarmuid. "It is," said Oisin, "and all the rest with them." With that, Diarmuid stood up and stretched out his hand for his weapons, and he said farewell to Oisin and the others, and every tear he shed was of the size of a mountain berry. He went out then to the wall of the dune, and he put the shafts of his 2 spears under him, and he rose with a great leap, and he came down on the grassy earth outside, and Grania met him there. Then Diarmuid said, "It is a bad journey you are come on, Grania, for it would be better for you to have Finn, son of Cool, as a lover than myself, for I do not know any part or any western corner of Ireland that will hide you. And if I do bring you with me," he said, "it is not as a wife I will bring you, but I will keep my faith to Finn and turn back to the town," he said, "and Finn will never get news of what you are after doing." "It is certain I will not turn back," said Grania, "and I will never part with you till death part us." "If that is so, let us go on, Grania," said Diarmuid. They went on then, and they were not gone far from the town when Grania said, "I am getting tired indeed." "It is a good time to be tired," said Diarmuid. "And now go back again to your own house, for I swear by the word of a true champion," he said, "I will never carry yourself or any woman to the end of life and time." "That is not what you have to do," said Grania, "for my father's horses are in the grass field by themselves, and chariots with them, and turn back now and bring 2 horses of them, and I will wait in this place till you come to me again." Diarmuid went back then for the horses, and we have no knowledge of their journey till they reached to the fort of the Shannon, that is called Luin. And Diarmuid then said to Grania, "It is easier to Finn to follow our track, the horses being with us." "If that is so," said Grania, "leave the horses here, and I will go on foot from this out." Diarmuid went to the river then, and he brought a horse with him over the ford, and left the other horse the far side of the river. And he himself and Grania went a good way with the stream westward, and they went to Ireland at the side of the province of Connacht. And wherever they went, Diarmuid left unbroken bread after him, as a side to Finn he kept his faith with him. And from that they went to Daredavaux, the wood of the 2 huts. And Diarmuid cut down the wood round about them, and he made a fence having 7 doors of woven twigs, and he set out a bed of soft rushes and of the tops of the birch trees for Grania in the very middle of the wood. And here is where I end my tale for today. But I'll be back with more tales, many more tales. Until then, my friends, enjoy the journey. Slán go fóill. Bye for now. If you enjoyed this story, please give us a thumbs up and comment. It truly helps us.